Okay, so there's a war that kicked off just over a month ago, and it is already sending massive shockwaves across the entire globe. We're talking about the potential to redraw alliances, to cripple economies, and to create a humanitarian crisis on a scale we really haven't seen in decades. So today, let's connect the dots and trace this fallout from the front lines right back to your wallet. And it all starts with this one number, 20%. You have to understand this because this conflict has basically choked off 20% of the world's entire oil supply. The consequences of that, they are immediate and they are huge. So, to really get the full picture, we're going to follow the ripple effect. We'll start at the military epicenter. Then we'll move to the strategic choke point it's created, see the political fractures it's causing, map out the economic mess, and finally, look at the very real human cost of all of this. Right, so our story begins at the epicenter, the war itself. What started back on February 28th has escalated with, breathtaking speed into a direct, multi-front conflict. The first month has been just relentless. It kicked off with joint US-Israeli strikes, and Iran retaliated almost immediately. Within just 5 days, the whole thing got wider, with Israel moving into Lebanon. And get this, by the second week, special forces were already operating covertly inside Iran. It's an unbelievably fast escalation. And now, over a month in, Iran's announcing yet another wave of attacks. And the cost of this first month? It has been incredibly steep for both sides. The US has lost at least 13 service members and 16 of its advanced MQ-9 Reaper drones, and these are seriously sophisticated aircraft. In response, they've hammered over 230 targets in Tehran alone. Meanwhile, Iran is claiming a much, much higher death toll, over 1,700 people, and has expanded its retaliatory strikes on US bases all across the region. So how does a regional war like this become a global crisis? Well, the answer lies in one very narrow, absolutely vital stretch of water. This is the Strait of Hormuz, and to put it simply, it's an artery for the world's energy supply. By threatening any ship that passes through, Iran has effectively put a chokehold on the global economy, turning this strategic waterway into a straight-up war zone. And trapped inside that war zone, 20,000 seafarers. These are people stuck on tankers and cargo ships in the Persian Gulf, unable to leave, with supplies running low, and caught directly in the line of fire. And this personal account from a Filipino sailor who we only know as KR, it just captures the fear perfectly. He, like thousands of others, is not a soldier. He's a worker who's now a hostage to geopolitics, spending his days watching missile attacks and just worrying about the family he supports back home. Now, this strain isn't just economic, it's profoundly political. This whole conflict is now testing one of the world's most enduring military alliances, and it's pushing it to its breaking point. And this is where all that frustration has just boiled over into public view. Feeling a lack of support, US President Trump publicly called NATO a paper tiger, a move that really threatens the very foundation of an alliance that has defined security for over 70 years. And look, this isn't just talk. It's creating a deep operational division. The US is demanding allies join a naval coalition to reopen the strait. But key partners like the UK, France, and Italy have all said no. So why are they hesitating? Well, for many in Europe, this conflict feels like a crisis they didn't create, with risks that just outweigh their own interests. The feeling is perfectly captured by the German defense minister, "This is not our war." And while the politicians argue, the economic consequences of that blocked strait are already hitting home for everyone everywhere. Think about what that really means. The most immediate impact is right here, energy prices. With that 20% of global supply just gone, the price of both oil and natural gas has spiked by as much as 60% in some places. That drives up costs for shipping, for heating, for manufacturing, basically for everything, all over the world. And from there, the effects just domino through the global economy. This is where it gets really, really concerning. We're seeing vital food aid from the World Food Program stuck in ports. We see a massive company like Unilever freezing all hiring because of the uncertainty. You might even feel it yourself when you fly. Air France KLM is already adding a €50 fuel surcharge. And it just keeps going. Key commodities, like the fertilizer we need to grow food, are spiking in price. This isn't just a temporary hiccup. It's a full-blown supply chain crisis with effects that are going to stick around. Which brings us to the final and, frankly, the most important ripple in this crisis: the widespread human cost of this conflict. When you pull all these threads together, the picture is just devastating. I mean, beyond the thousands of military casualties, we have those seafarers, 10 of whom have already been killed in attacks. We have thousands of civilians displaced by the fighting, and an American journalist has been kidnapped in Iraq. And then there's this looming threat of a global hunger crisis.
And this is the number that the World Food Program is warning us about: 45 million. That's how many additional people could be pushed into acute hunger if these supply chain disruptions continue. It's a direct line from a conflict in the Gulf to empty dinner tables all around the world.
So we're left with this question. In just over a single month, we've seen a regional war shake our economic foundations and fracture some of our oldest alliances. It forces us to ask if this is more than just another conflict, if what we're actually witnessing is the world order being violently redrawn right before our very eyes.